Is it time for some stars to take a time out from Tidal? The streaming service started by music mogul Jay-Z is struggling to gain traction, even with exclusive album releases from Kanye West and Rihanna. Here with more on this is Yahoo Finance writer Dan Roberts. So, Dan, big names involved here, but they're still struggling to get the subscriber growth. At what point do Jay-Z's friends go, listen, you're my buddy, but I can't keep doing this?
You do wonder. When they first launched the service, he stood on a stage with a number of rappers on stage with him, and there weren't great optics involved. They kind of said, we're launching this because we've been underserved and we've been discriminated against and we don't make enough money from the other streaming services. And a lot of people responded and said, come on, you're all rich already. Now you need to launch your own service and get more money. And they've fixed that a little bit. They lowered the price from $20 a month to $10. But for the most part, you know, Kanye puts out an album. Right now, it's been out a week, but it's only available on Tidal. And so a ton of his fans haven't heard it, and they might never hear it if it never leaves Tidal. So he's really at a disadvantage right now by helping Jay-Z by putting his album on it.
Now, you have signed up for the trial for Tidal. What are your early thoughts?
Well, it's really not that different from Spotify. You know, visually it looks the same, and it's at a disadvantage because all of my friends are on Spotify. So if I cared about the social aspect and seeing what my friends are listening to, then I'm not incentivized to switch from Spotify to Tidal. Now, maybe you want the exclusive album releases. That's maybe a small incentive, but overall, they're really just pushing video, and there's no difference from Spotify. So, you know, 60 million users already are paying for Spotify. Why would they switch and pay for Tidal?
What are the numbers like? Do a comparison for me between Apple, Spotify, and Tidal in terms of subscribers, and also they're pretty tight-lipped about their numbers, aren't they?
Right, and that's why actually Kanye's new album, after a week, still isn't showing up on the charts, and that's because Tidal won't share their streaming numbers. And why won't they share their numbers? Because they're so small.
Right.
Spotify has 60 million users, and something like 12 of them pay to use the service. So 60 million, that's a big number to catch up to. Apple Music says it has 6.5 million paying subscribers. Pandora has 70 million users, something like 3 million of them pay. So compare those big numbers, 60 million, 12 million, to the 1 million that Tidal has. Now, of course, all 1 million of those are paying subscribers because there isn't a free option. But they have a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, for sure. And you bring up a good point. I mean, you're saying there's no option for free. They launched at a $20 membership fee. Now they've had to knock it down to 10. Does this sort of speak to the hubris of Jay-Z?
Well, it's interesting. You know, he's got so many connections that I think he's succeeded a lot in business because of his clout. And that's why he got Taylor Swift on Tidal when she isn't on Spotify. Kanye and Rihanna putting their albums exclusively on Tidal. All that is great, but he's got so much ground to make up, and I think a lot of people wonder, did he have to launch a streaming service? You've got Apple Music, Beats, which sold to Apple, Spotify, people still use Pandora, there's Sirius XM. It's like, did we need another one of these? And so I think we need to give it a little more time, but after a year, 1 million users isn't much. It hasn't exactly caught fire.
Well, this is also not his first rodeo. Jay-Z owns a lot of other companies. How has he fared with those ventures?
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch. He had a stake in the Nets, and that got him a lot of publicity as a sports owner. And then he sold that stake, which he had to do in order to become a sports agent. You know, you can't have an interest in a team if you're an agent. So now he's a sports agent, and he's got an agency called Roc Nation. And they signed a number of clients, but actually their more prominent guys haven't gotten big endorsement deals, and they aren't playing that well, and that's luck.
Personal friends of Jay-Z, right?
Yes, that too. And so that's some amount of that is luck, but the sports agency as a whole hasn't done that well, and now Tidal hasn't done that well, and so you have to wonder, well, what's the trajectory for him as a businessman?
Yeah, maybe just a new album for Jay-Z. All right, thanks a lot, Dan Roberts. Thanks for joining us. And now it's your turn. Would you try Jay-Z's streaming service Tidal? Tell us what you think in the space below or on the Yahoo Finance Facebook page.